IPL, or Inkling Performance Labs, is the largest Western organization for hosting a majority of the Splatoon competitive events. Much of their staff is also involved in other tournaments and LANs, and their roles range from managing the help desk and Battlefy disputes to hosting streams and branding for social media coverage. Yesterday, IPL announced they decided to remove the org-wide ban on Splattercolor's screen and decided against the opt-in, opt-out features that other tournaments have implemented. Within hours, the TOs were met with relentless criticism and death threats. Later that night, Magic, a prominent tournament organizer and commentator, announced he would be leaving the community due to the overwhelming amount of stress put upon him and others built up over the years. You don't know what you have until it's gone, and Magic leaving couldn't be a better representation of this. Once Magic is gone, the community won't be the same. Everything in the competitive Splatoon community is fan-run. Without the support from Nintendo, fans put matters into their own hands to try and make competitive Splatoon the closest thing to a real esport. All the people involved in creating and running tournaments dedicate so much time and money just for competitive Splatoon to exist without ever getting paid for the work they put in. This scene is built from passion and from people who truly care about the game and its player base. Being upset and having criticism is valid, and TOs have to make certain decisions sometimes that feel or maybe are unfair, so it's important to be mindful of why they made those choices. We should work to spread positivity and thank our TOs while also being critical properly when we need to, so we can each play our part in keeping this community healthy. TOs have long been underappreciated, and the unfortunate norm in our community is to stir drama over debates and controversy and sit back to enjoy the show. Twitter is so quick to spread the news of TOs making mistakes and broadcasting them to be shamed. What should be a fun project can quickly turn into a job, dealing with countless complaints and criticism week after week. It's no surprise to see the pillars of this community dropping one by one, and yet there are still those who dismiss these events without considering the consequences, as if there will still be tournaments even if there are no TOs. Why continue putting in your time and effort for an event that will be met with disdain the moment you make a mistake, to be faulted for anything that goes wrong, and be accused of not actually caring? Every tournament was built with the help of many people who all want to help the scene grow, to make it the best it can be, with the only payment being the gratification of giving back to the community. Someone drew and designed the logo, commissioned the badges, managed the server, designed the stream overlays and aesthetics, got together commentators, was in charge of the spec cam, managed the seating, the brackets, match problems, technical difficulties, and announcements to players, and put their wholehearted effort into their role. Everyone cares and listens to feedback because all they want is to provide a good experience and improve with every event. There are so many tasks to be done with the help of so many people. To shame an entire organization disregards the efforts of everyone involved who always devotes hours of their week to making tournaments possible. I've only TO'd for 4 of my own tournaments, and in that short amount I have already experienced someone so angry at my rules that they hated every fiber of my being and decided to spread to everyone they knew that I was a horrible person, all because we disagreed on what was considered meta. I've received a number of DMs from people evading the help desk for special attention on their complaints in just 4 events, and having to deal with the same questions over and over. So I can't imagine what it must be like for a TO who regularly goes through this multiple times a month. After putting up with this for years with no compensation, as long as people still think it's okay to harass others and to value honest work over disagreements, it's only a matter of time before there won't be anyone willing to take the risk to continue hosting events. The boycotts will only give TOs a greater incentive to leave. Even now I'm afraid to talk about this subject, knowing that people will find a way to misconstrue my words and risk facing harassment over this issue. It's scary to speak your mind in this community even when you mean well. I've never participated in sharing my thoughts until now because I care about the longevity of this community. With events like these, it casts a grim shadow over something I know so many people also care about. The thought of the community dying is heartbreaking, and it feels like the accumulation of thankless actions, no matter how big or small, brings us one step closer to that demise. The whole point of creating my channel was to bring more people into the competitive scene. I wanted to provide resources for the people interested in what keeps the comp scene alive, starting with trying to show players etiquette and valuing people's time as a participant in the scene. After my series of guides for captains and teammates, I plan to make guides for streaming Splatoon as a VTuber or PNG tuber, and go over what goes on behind the scenes, teaching others how to TO, the aspects involved in production, such as commentating and streaming, and hoping to spread awareness of the hard work that is put into this community along the way. It's disheartening to see what's been happening, but I won't give up. I'll continue to make videos because I really believe in this community and I know we can do better. Be grateful and be kind even if you don't agree with something. All that is asked is to be civil. The TOs are listening. It's not worth starting fires we may never recover from.